what's up everybody? It's Crystal. I wanted to make this video today because the other day while Teresa and I were sitting and having coffee, a lot of information started to come forward, and shortly after our conversation, which I did record because I knew it was going to be really profound, shortly after our conversation, I received a really large download, and I just was writing page and page and page of information. And so I really wanted to make a video and share the information that came through because I think it's very profound when it comes to really recognizing kind of how our souls interact in these consciousness groups and how our soul tribes are actually coming together and what that really looks like. And they were explaining how we do have different groups of consciousness that are coming together, and all of us belong to one of these groups, and we co-create from these groups with our intention and our energies, and we're doing this at a soul level, and it is trickling into a very physical level now as we see groups of like-minded people coming together and sharing platforms together and sharing YouTube pages. And those of you that are coming here and listening to this information that we've been putting out, it's you're connected to this group, this consciousness group in one way or another, whether co-creating or it is your primary group of consciousness that you work within. And I just feel like this information is so cool, and it really brings a lot of clarity. Now, keep in mind, you could relate to many of these groups right now, because as you are still coming into yourself and really getting to know who you are, you're going to find yourself exploring different consciousnesses and really deciding what resonates most with who you are and what you're expressing as. I find myself very connected to the earthly realm, which, we'll go into the specifics here in a little bit, but I find myself very connected to the earthly realm light workers, and I know in my heart that my main connection is within the galactic light workers. That energy just resonates with my essence of who I am as a being more. But I do still find myself really engaging in crystals and finding myself having a relationship with them and really communicating and learning how to communicate from the elementals. So I know there's a lot of purpose and co-creation in those connections too. And so they really laid it out in a way that really helped me kind of understand in a very human form how this is all kind of going down right now. So what I have here in this video is, first you'll hear the conversation between me and Teresa having coffee as this information was starting to come in. And then I'm going to come on and read through the notes that I took when I received the download. And then, like I said, I'm going to jump right back into this space, and we're going to channel the guides and see what their message is for all of that. So I'm really excited to share this, and I hope you find some clarity in this, just like I did. All right, guys, have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye. So you know how they say I don't want to put that up there. You know how they say in the other realms, in the non-physical realms, we group with other souls, consciousnesses, to create one group consciousness based on our belief systems. Mm-hmm. Or what we're choosing to focus on there. They're not so much belief systems in the higher realms. They're saying that the light working community, as of this last full moon, the Leo moon, has really kind of split into consciousness groups. And this is how we are going to aid in humanity's awakening more.
Every group has its purpose.
Exactly. And so there's a group connected to Gaia and Gaia's ascension. And I think those were the first wavers that came around and helped Gaia. And then there are people who are tuned into Gaia's ascension right now and fulfilling that role with helping her right now. And then there are people that are connected more to the galactics. And there are people that are connected to I want to say angels. Like there's a group that's connected to like the earth angels. Mm-hmm. And there's a group connected to the inner earth. And it's like each consciousness group, part of our awakening as light workers was to decide what consciousness group we wanted to be a part of. That's been such a huge part of our awakening in this self-discovery and healing. And we weren't able to be in awareness of that right until like now, they're saying. Because if we were aware previously, just like with the event energy, if we would know the date, our practices would slack. Yeah. Our consciousnesses would slack. They're saying the same exact thing about understanding what consciousness group we're a part of. The consciousness that's helping Gaia right now is very connected to like Gaia's transformation, the elementals, new earth, the crystals, all of this stuff. And then there are people, and it's like there are all these subgroups too. So within the lightworking consciousness group that works with new earth Gaia, not old earth Gaia like the older lightworkers, but new earth Gaia, they work within the fifth dimensional crystalline grid. They're a grid worker. Are all of them? No, just some of them, the ones that choose to have that passion or purpose. Then there's also consciousness within the humans that are connecting into the galactics, but they're working within that fifth dimensional grid too. So they're grid workers too, right? So there's it's like an oversoul type group, right? It's the consciousness that your soul resonates with the most strong. And then there's all these subgroups, like mission groups, that you work with different beings to come together to work with the mission. Like 5D Gaia group and people like us, the galactic group, we're working within the grid because that's our mission here on Earth, you know? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's cool.
Somehow this ties into how we're going to help people, because I was just asking, with all this solar energy that's coming in right now, they were telling me that part of my release I've been going through these last 2 weeks is part of this wave that we're getting right now. Because I don't know, I'm grounding consciousness into this fifth dimensional grid. I don't get it completely, so we'll have to channel on this. But because I'm grounding galactic information into the 5D grid, that also connects me into like other pockets. I don't understand.
It would be a fun channel.
Yeah. And it's almost like these missions that we're coming together on, like those of us, there's a mission right now within the Lightworking Collective that is spreading Christed consciousness. And I think that was part of my growth in the beginning of creating this platform, because I thought that I was supposed to be spreading this Christed consciousness, but it wasn't. It was, I was supposed to be spreading this Christed consciousness within me.
Yeah.
You know?
You first.
And I took that upon myself, and it made me feel like such a bad person, because I was being called to different vibrations. The message that I was supposed to be giving, the people around that were receiving it, they too needed to work on self-love. They too needed to work on putting up boundaries and figuring out our own inner balance, masculine and feminine. We weren't, the collective that I'm working with, me, you, these people that are on the platform and everything, we weren't in the space for Christed consciousness. Yes, we have an awareness of it, that that's where it is, but we couldn't our role in our awakening wasn't to go into oneness right off the bat. We had to build our foundation first. And there were people that had it in their contract, and it's mainly the Gaia, the new Gaia, consciousness that's working within the elementals and, you know, helping Gaia move into this fifth dimensional space and really create balance. You know, one of those people, for instance, would be, they have this Christed consciousness grounded within them from the start. So their evolution was more about connecting into these higher realms and other diversities of what it's like to be human. So it's like, we all, like, for instance, the people that are awakening right now, a lot of them have this perception that they have to, like, start where everybody else did, or you know, figure this out because this is what you have to figure out right now. But in all reality, if they would understand what consciousness group they're a part of, whether they're a part of that Christed consciousness or the galactics or the earth or the inner earth, you know, inner earth is more of the older collective of light workers. A lot of the people that you worked with back in the day, they're a part of like old earth, inner earth collective consciousness. I don't know. We'll have to pull this all together because it means something.
Well, there's sort of a stigma of what it means to be a light worker. And it's all under the same blanket to now say, because a lot of light workers feel like
we're all supposed to, yeah, or we're supposed to be following the path that so-and-so had.
And it's when
right.
the event comes especially, then
everybody will see their role.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
But this would be a good channel to do to get out so people can just calm down and just focus on themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the written download, and it's a little jagged, so if I have to go back over something, bear with me here. Okay. So talking about the awakened light workers, because when they began to give me the download of the light workers in general and kind of just where we all fit in, they were saying the first initial two groups are the awakened light workers, which are those who are awakened now, and then the unawakened light workers, which are those who are going to awaken immediately after this shift with absolute ease and step fully into who they are. So they broke it down like this. Awakened light workers, anyone with conscious awareness of the awakening, healing the self, spreading the light, aware that the path to the higher vibration is within them, and knows this is the way and it is their current intention in their life. The unawakened light workers are currently trying to create more inner balance, figure out what it means to find inner balance. They're trying to create more positivity in their life. They're being repelled away from the negative. They do not have a conscious awareness of the awakened path, so they definitely wouldn't be listening to information like this, or really seeking any spiritual information really at this time. Still very much in their earthly life. They will awaken fully during the shift to 5D, and they currently have no awakened awareness of their mission work until the shift into 5D. Currently, this is how things are going. The awakened light workers are raising the vibration of their self, knowing that this is raising the planet by healing and seeking information and deciding whether or not it's true, and then kind of shifting who you're becoming and who you are in the now moment, really, based off this information. So at this time, they're raising the vibration of Gaia by clearing and strengthening the heart chakra. Some will choose to aid humanity in the shift through 5D, but not many will. When we move into 5D, these will be the beings that will move fully into their power and step into their roles of creating this new society, And they're saying that this is completely regardless of their earthly education, as at the time of the shift, they will completely download their Akashic record. The unawakened light workers, the ones that have no awareness currently, but when we transfer into a fifth dimensional physical reality, they will awaken immediately to who they are and have nothing holding them back from that space. They will assist humanity through the transition into 5D. So I thought that was very interesting, because I think so many of us now think that once, we shift and we start to go through this awakening, that we're going to be aiding humanity. But what the guides are really saying is that, for the most part, we are just all going to continue to move forward in building the structure of the new earth and this new society and way of being, while the ones that awaken next, right after us, into the totality of who they are, they will actually be the ones that will be teaching the healing and teaching the raising of vibrations and the really opening of the consciousness within the collective, because they're not going to understand that at that time. So these unawakened light workers will assist humanity through the transition into 5D, but for now they live a very normal and a very human life. So the Awakened Lightworkers Pre-ascension mission. As you awaken, you're first called into clearing your emotional trauma. As you clear your emotional trauma, then you're brought forward to the awareness of the subconscious and begin to clear the emotional programming. At this stage in the awakening is when most get a taste of that freedom, the energy of what can possibly be for them. This higher consciousness awareness trigger will begin to really open them up, and this is when things start to snowball. They begin to understand the need to raise their vibration into a more positive space. They now have a taste of what 5D will feel like. They understand the reasons behind why they really need to start practicing their tools. They understand how to balance their own inner energy, and they do so in a consistent, in a consistent pattern. And this is when they really begin to experience the fifth dimensional consciousness. At this time, the vibration raises, and they begin to ground in the inner being. As they ground in the inner being, this shifts who they are, and they begin to pull themselves out of the third dimensional matrix. As they pull themselves out of this matrix by grounding in the inner being, not just knowing the information, but using it and becoming it, their manifestations begin, the big ones. At this point in time, they will begin to release all of their lower vibrational habits, because the proof that they are seeing within their transformation is showing them that they're on the right path. And this is when they really begin to taste 5D. Fifth dimensional state of being then becomes the operating system. And at this point, a fifth dimensional reality is really beginning to be felt. The energy of it is much stronger. And as you continue to be in this fifth dimensional state of being, as the main operating system of who you are as an essence, you then come into your reality shift or the event. Once the shift occurs, and just so that we can be clear about this, as they're talking about our pre-ascension mission and how we're working through these energies, any of us can be anywhere on this scale at any point in time. It just depends on what you've been able to really ground into your knowing and hold yourself stable in. Some people may still be clearing emotional programming and trauma, while others may be in the state of really grounding in the inner being and beginning to manifest this fifth dimensional reality around them. So while we are all on the same timeline going towards the same outcome, the awareness and perception of the experience can be very different based on where the individual is vibrating. As we go into New Earth, the original blueprint of all the senses and all of the abilities and the full consciousness and body will be online immediately. The previously awakened will spend time exploring their body, their surroundings, and their consciousness. They'll begin to create the structures and foundations for new earth living, and then continue to ascend into higher dimensions. The newly awakened at that time will heal themselves very quickly at a very amplified rate, and then begin aiding humanity in the healing as well. The human collective. At the time of the shift, some will immediately go back to sleep. Some will be in total confusion. Some will be in shock and need guidance, direction on how to heal their thoughts and raise their vibration. Because even though they now have the abilities and heightened senses that we all have, they do not have the expanded awareness yet. And if you have old belief systems and a very quick manifesting energy, a lot of times that can manifest in fear. Some of the awakened, some will awaken immediately and are so excited and eager to learn that they'll shift quickly and begin to aid the other awakened ones with humanity's healing. Then they kind of circle back and talk about where the awakened light workers, so all of us that are listening to this recording here, those who are in our community and in our experience right now within our, ascension process, we are all awakened light workers. The current energy for us right now is saying that the healing is complete. We're no longer in a state of healing. Or even reorganizing, really. We're in a state of activation. They're also saying that the grounding of the higher self for most of the awakened light workers is coming into the completion stage as well. A lot of light workers are feeling that they are getting pushed against a wall to release their attachments, and this is true because the closer and closer our energies get to this fifth dimensional shift, you cannot bring these lower dimensional attachments with you. The collective is really being called into grounding who they are, beginning to really embody the totality of their spirit and live from that space. Light workers are opening up to their ascension groups, like-minded consciousnesses, people opening in the same thought forms and ascension experiences. These groups will work together to create the foundations of the new earth. Different groups have different overall missions, but also have co-creative missions with different consciousness groups to help create and ground this new earth energy. And then they go through the groups. Within the active light workers, there are 3 main groups of consciousness currently. The galactic consciousness, which is composed of cosmic energy, quantum energies, solar, planetary, and constellation energies. Then there's the Christ consciousness, which is composed of source energy, universal Akashic memory energy, and the great central race energy. And then there's the earthly consciousness, which is composed of the animal energy, elemental energy, angelic energy, and crystal energy. Now, there are people who may be tuned into a few of these at the same time, or maybe kind of taking pieces from all of these. But as you ground further into who you are, part of the ascension is learning who you are and kind of choosing the group of consciousness you want to create in. So as we continue to open and really understand who we are, we say, we're connected to, this group of consciousness and this group of consciousness. And they did give me the labels of, galactic and Christic consciousness and the earthly consciousness and what exactly that entails. The labels, don't get hung up on the label of it because they want you to think of the energy behind it. It's not the words. Going back, I do want to talk about what each group is kind of focused on as far as their soul and their own inner ascension. The galactic consciousness at this time is bringing forth the telepathic template. They're really tuning into their channel and really bringing forth a lot of the soul heritage. The Christed consciousness is really bringing forward a lot of the oneness energy, a lot of the coming together and living from the heart chakra. They're also bringing forward a lot of the soul heritage at this time so people can really understand who they are. They're also healing the collective heart chakra. The earthly consciousness is bringing forward the soul heritage also. It is also helping balance Gaia through the shift, and the earthly consciousness is also in charge of disclosure of the dark. Now, these consciousnesses, they are working together by what they're focusing on and what they're in tune with and where their heart is and what they're feeling called to. Yet they do co-create in these other groups. And they did give me a list of some of the current missions that are being worked out together. And they wanted to share this also to kind of explain how we are all co-creating, how some groups are co-creating with certain things and some are not. The New Earth creation, the foundation of New Earth, is currently being created by the galactic consciousness, the Christed consciousness, and the earthly consciousness. And the earthly consciousness does not mean like the human collective right now. It's talking about, the elemental energy, the inner earth energy, people who are connected really deeply to totems and animals, the angelic energies and crystals and stuff like that. So we all kind of carry our energy and our purpose and our beliefs and our powers and our abilities into each of these different missions and kind of co-create in these ways, which I just think is so cool. I really can't wait to get more information on that. So let's just keep moving forward. Clearing soul trauma, which is your past lives, is mainly being carried out by the Christed consciousness and the earthly consciousness. Here we go. Laying the grid of New Earth is being done currently by the galactic consciousness and the Christed consciousness. Helping humanity heal their hearts at this time is the Christed consciousness and the earthly consciousness. Helping Earth purge the lower densities of the collective is solely the earthly collective. Preparing new Earth energies for the collective to transfer into this reality is the new Earth energies, our deceased loved ones, and our galactic soul families. Helping Earth heal her heart center are the galactic consciousness and the earthly consciousness. And then they told me that there's also a mission going on right now of protection. And the protection is being carried out by the galactic consciousness, the Christed consciousness, and the earthly consciousness, but they all have different roles. And he broke it down like this. The galactics are protecting the atmosphere and the inner earth portals. The protection from the Christed consciousness soul group is more protection over the source light that's being brought into the earth, and they're also protecting the truth. There's a lot of white crystalline energy surrounding the Christed group at this time. The earthly consciousness group is helping shift the energy with Gaia and protecting her in that way, and also protecting humanity, the collective, from these earthquakes and volcanoes that are going on as the earth shifts and releases all this energy. There's a lot more to this that I really haven't gotten into because this just happened the other day. I'm really excited to bring forward more information on these groups. But I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths and pull in the guides and just see what exactly is it that we should be doing with this information at this time. This information is coming forward at this time for the heart chakra of the active light-working collective to release the expectations that it had unknowingly placed on itself as it had begun its awakening. Now that the collective of lightworkers is coming into a greater awareness of who they are and why they are here, it is very good timing to bring forward the information that as you heal and discover who you are and what really makes your heart beat, you will know exactly what consciousness group you want to participate in. This is not like the Harry Potter sorting hat. This is your choice based on what you're passionate about and what you love. So this is why we have always encouraged and will continue to encourage you deepening your connection to your heart so that you can hear the inner desires and you can follow that voice that will lead you to exactly where you are meant to be. If this information resonates with you, take it, daydream with it, dream about it. You're bringing forward your soul tribes at this time. The soul tribes that you will be bringing forward are going to be your like-minded people. If you have a very large focus on bringing forward oneness energy for the collective at this time, the likelihood of you connecting and being a part of a soul group with people in a galactic consciousness is going to be fun and entertaining, but it's not going to trigger the inspiration within you the way it will when you connect to others in your oneness group. So this message is also coming forward to allow the Lightworking Collective a little bit more tolerance and understanding and opening in the heart chakra when people have different ideas and beliefs than you do, because everybody is interpreting and perceiving this ascension in a little bit of a different light, because your perception is your reality and nobody can perceive like you unless they have the same exact experiences as you do. So allow yourself to settle in. It's okay that we're all on this different path, and really allow you off the hook more than anything to release this expectation that maybe you have been carrying over yourself, that you need to be at a certain point, or you need to be a certain way, or you need to, why am I not channeling? Well, maybe that is not your soul's focus at this time. Maybe your soul's focus is getting you to connect to the earth and open up your heart and receive the information that's being given to you through nature. There's a lot of different ways that we're all receiving this energy at this time, and none of it is wrong, and none of it is right. It's all perfect, exactly the way that it is. And as we continue to heal ourselves, we're all going to be removing the filters that are making these messages seem like they may be a little bit contradictory, because they're not. At the core, all messages are exactly the same, and it is love. It's love. Love yourself, love each other, bring forward the knowledge of the universe, and exude yourself from this space. We feel like you have had enough for today, so our message is complete. Thank you for being here with us. We have so much love for you.